When I did my first triathlon in 1984 at the age of 18, the pioneers of Ironman like Dave Scott, Mark Allen, and Scott Tingley were some of my heroes and were practically household names. And I made myself a promise right then and there that I was going to do an Ironman triathlon. And I actually qualified to go to Kona the very next year, but a back injury in training kept me out of that race. And after that came college and family and medical school and residency, and then a practice that required me to work 60 to 80 hours a week, and my goal of Ironman was definitely put on the back burner for many years. Then in 2012, my son Evan, who's a top-notch Xterra triathlete, was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And as I watched him go through chemotherapy and the nausea and fatigue and weakness that goes along with it, I decided that if he could get through that, it was time for me to revisit my challenge that I made to myself at the age of 18 to do an Ironman triathlon. My first attempt at Ironman was a rude awakening for sure. The swim had big waves, there was a headwind on the bike and intense heat on the run, and I just crumbled both physically and mentally. Ended up walking the last 13 miles. But even still, giving that bald son of mine a hug as I was running down the finishing straight is still one of the highlights of my life. My next two attempts at Ironman were at Ironman Maryland, and both were just excruciatingly close to qualifying, but I just couldn't quite get there. So I've decided to give it one last try to qualify for Ironman in Kona at Boulder this June. I think Ironman is about sacrifice and perseverance, and it's also about keeping promises that you make to yourself. And I intend to keep the promise that I made to myself 30 years ago this October in Kona.